Hello builders, welcome to another video. I am Laszlo and today I'm going to talk about a brand new feature of EventBridge called EventBridge Pipes. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming videos. Now, EventBridge Pipes was released at the 2022 reInvent and it allows you to connect different types of sources with targets and helps you build event-driven architectures in an easier way by reducing the amount of code you need to integrate the different types of services. It's not just about sources and targets. It's able to do filtering on the source events and send only a subset of those events to the targets. Then it's able to do enrichment. This is actually the enhancement of the data you receive in the pipe. Imagine you get a customer ID, but you also need some additional details about that customer, such as the shipment address. You can add such an enrichment step in the pipe and retrieve the additional data you need, and then send the whole thing to the target where the order will be processed. So let's actually see a pipeline in action. I'm going to do a demo in which we are going to create an EventBridge pipe which fetches messages from an SQS queue. From the queue, it gets information about the order, and this information will contain this customer ID. Based on this, it will make a call to API gateway from where it will retrieve additional information about this customer, specifically the shipping address. Then it will hand this information down to a Lambda function, which should handle the order processing. So this will be our demo. Let's see how can we implement this. Now here I am in the AWS console. So some of the resources I need for this demo I already created beforehand. So let's see first these. So I have a queue already created. So this is the incoming orders queue. And I have connected a dead letter queue to this queue in case there are any errors. Then I have an API gateway created. And that API gateway is the customer's API, which will retrieve information about a specific customer based on the ID. And this has in the background a Lambda function which retrieves the information from a DynamoDB table. So here is the DynamoDB table. Let's see tables and customers. Let's explore the table items. You see I have a bunch of customers here. And I'm going to use this ID to fetch them. So the customer ID that will come from the queue will be this one. And I will have to return the shipment address for the customer. And I also have some Lambda functions. What interests us most is the process order. This will be the target of our pipe. And this should handle the processing of the orders. So let's go back and go to EventBridge. And here in EventBridge, the pipes feature is here on the left side in the menu, and we can immediately start by clicking on pipes and then create a pipe. And you see we have the different steps here: source, filtering, enrichment, target. We're going to begin with the source, which will be our SQS queue. And the queue will be this incoming orders. So whenever this queue will get a message with an order, that should contain the customer ID, and we are going to fetch some additional data based on that. So let's click on next. And here I need to set up some filtering if I want to. So my event pattern in this case, this is the event pattern, the sample event pattern for SQS queues. I'm going to slightly modify it. Let's paste this in. And I have, instead of for the body here, instead of the test message, I'm going to receive this JSON object, which will be the order category. You see here, new order. So I want to filter on this. I only want to trigger this pipe for new orders. And the customer ID, I should receive that one as well here. So in order to do this pattern matching here, filtering, I have to add in some code here. So I've prepared this beforehand. So what we are saying, I want to filter on the body from here. I want to look in the order category, and the prefix of the order category should be new order. So I'm only going to trigger the pipe if it's a new order. So this is the filtering step, as you can see. And now let's copy again this whole sample event. Click on next. Here we have the enrichment step. And in the enrichment step, I'm going to use API gateway to enrich the data. You see, I could use a Lambda function, step functions, API gateway, or API destination, which could be something else external. I'm just going to go back quickly to the previous step. Yeah, once more, because I want to show you also what kind of sources we have. So we have Kinesis streams, queues, DynamoDB tables, Apache MQ queues, a self-managed Apache Kafka, and Amazon MSK. So these could be the sources. Now here we have the filtering, and I've shown you also the target and the enrichment options, and I'm going to use API gateway. And from API gateway here, I'm going to choose the customer's API. I need to choose a stage. So this will be the prod stage. And the integration target will be this resource customers /ID, which is a get method. And I have to tell it where it should take the ID, this ID in the path. And I'm going to come back to this in a bit. So here we could transform our input. This is an input transformer. So this is our sample event. And what I want to do here, I want to forward to my enrichment step the order category and the customer ID, let's say. And you see, it's once I clicked it, it immediately identified it, and it shows me what would be the output. So this is the input transformer. This is an optional step, but you can transform the payload here. Now let's get back here to the path parameters, because we need to provide this customer ID to our API gateway, because this is a GET request and it should be in the path. So this ID should be, you write it like this dollar body and then customer ID. And with this, it should put this ID in the path. Then click on next. We have to define a target. After the enrichment, we want to forward this data to our target. And the target can be lots of things. You see, it could be an API destination, API gateway, Lambda, batch job, CloudWatch logs, ECS, and so on. I'm not going to list all of them now. I'm going to use a Lambda. Normally, maybe you would use a step functions workflow to process the order, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just use a Lambda function here. And I have to choose which is going to be my order processing Lambda, and this one. And this is actually only going to simulate the processing of the order. It will return the output it receives. Here I could also do some transformations, but I'm just going to ignore this for the moment. And I'm going to click create pipe. Oh, I have to give it a name. It says name cannot be empty. Let's say order process enrichment pipe, and let's create this pipe. And once you do that, once you click this create pipe, it takes a while. If we go to pipes, you see it's creating. So I'm going to pause the video until this finishes creating. So it's now finished creating the pipe. Let's look at it a bit. So we have the source, which is the SQSQ. We have the filtering step. We have the enrichment step with API gateway, and then we have the target. So now I would trigger this pipe by sending a message to the SQSQ, and it should take the data, send it to API gateway, enrich it with the shipment address, and send it to the Lambda function for processing. So let's go to SQS. I'm going to open this queue and send and receive messages here. So I'm going to send it a new message. Let's see some other IDs. So we have here 3 IDs I could use. I'm going to use 101. So for this, it should return me this address, 1 Cloud Street, and the name is Alice Jones. So let's send this message. So once we have sent it, this has been sent to the pipe for processing. If there's some error, it should land in the dead letter queue, because I have configured the dead letter queue on these incoming orders. And I set the number of receives to 3. So how could I check now if my Lambda function got executed with the correct data? So whether it got the enriched data. So let's go to functions, Lambda, and open process order. And here on the monitor tab, we can click on view CloudWatch logs. And here, hopefully, we have some data. And you see, we actually have it. If I click on it, and you see, it received an event. It received 1 Cloud Street, Alice Jones, and so on. So this is the proof that the event got through to API gateway. It got enriched with that shipment data, and it was sent to the process order Lambda function. Now, if I'm going to go back here and send another message, this time I'm going to use 103 as the ID. Send a message, and if I go back here and refresh this, it should receive a new message anytime now. And you see it received the information from the pipe with the enriched data coming from API gateway. If I would use something else here, so for example, order update, because I have set up filtering on the EventBridge pipe, this would not trigger the pipe. It would not be sent to the enrichment step and to the target. So let's send it. And here, no matter how many times I'm going to refresh the logs for the Lambda, I'm not going to receive this data, because the pipe will only trigger on new orders. So this is how you set up quickly a pipe. Use filtering on the pipe and an enrichment step to get additional data, and then send the data to another service for processing. So this is the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media, and I hope to see you soon with another video here on Majestic.cloud.